long-run Phillips curve. The long-run Phillips curve is a mirror image of the long-run aggregate supply curve on the ASAD graph. To understand the long-run Phillips curve, you must remember several things from our earlier discussion about the short-run Phillips curve. Let's say the government uses expansionary fiscal policy, which shifts aggregate demand to the right, causing a movement along the short-run aggregate supply curve, which means that you're going from one point on the short-run Phillips curve to another point here. As inflation rises because of an increase in aggregate demand, individuals begin to calculate this rise into their view of expected inflation. You recall, as expected inflation rises, this shifts the short-run aggregate supply curve to the left, which means that the short-run Phillips curve shifts to the right. The economy originally started at point A, and then because of expansionary fiscal policy causing an increase in aggregate demand, the economy went to point B on the short-run aggregate supply curve and point B on the short-run Phillips curve. Because of higher expected inflation, the short-run aggregate supply curve shifts to the left, and the short-run Phillips curve shifts to the right. The point of equilibrium now goes to point C on both the ASAD graph and the Phillips curve graph. The important concept here is to understand that in the long run, there is no trade-off between unemployment and inflation. Notice that inflation increased going from point A to point B, from point A to point B, yet in the long run, the economy works its way back, like it worked its way back here, it works its way back here to the natural rate of unemployment indicated by the long-run aggregate supply curve. An inward shift of the long-run Phillips curve can occur when supply-side policies are successful in increasing productivity and potential output. In the long run, as these supply-side policies begin to reduce frictional and structural unemployment, the long-run aggregate supply curve shifts to the right and the long-run Phillips curve shifts to the left. Notice you've gone from this point now, let's say you're at this point on this demand curve. Notice you are here now at this point, so you get more employment, which means less unemployment, and you also get it at lower price levels, or